This podcast is not rated. Listener discretion advised. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, everybody. I feel like it's been a long time. I don't know why. I'm one of your hosts, Denny.
The days are going slow, though, or fast. Both. Anyway.
Both slow and fast. I'm one of your hosts, Denny, and joining me are...
This is John.
And TC.
And we watch the best movies ever made every week, you guys. And we are watching... this isn't the longest movie, which is kind of surprising, but it is really long.
What is the longest movie?
It was Gangs of Wasseypur was the longest one.
Oh, well, that one was like 2 movies, though. So
this one
sort of
is different. So this week we were watching Lawrence of Arabia. It was made in 1962, directed by David Lean. The synopsis is the story of T.E. Lawrence, the English officer who successfully united the diverse and often warring Arab tribes during World War I in order to fight the Turks. My turn to go first this week. I'm going to start out by saying that I was afraid of watching this movie. I've always avoided watching this movie.
And you have never seen it, so this is
never
first
seen
time,
it.
right?
First time.
Okay.
Obviously heard about it before. You know, everyone talks about how classic this movie is. You see shots of it, and it just looks like one of those movies that when you watch it, it looks slow. It looks kind of boring. It looks like a movie nerds kind of movie. Like, oh yeah, appreciate the shot, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
This movie's freaking long. I can guess before my turn is over. I'm going to try to guess at what your negative points are, because while watching it, I was like, oh, TC's going to hate that. Oh, John's going to hate that.
Yes.
But this movie was fucking awesome. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
There was I saw influence in so many other movies while I was watching this movie and be like, was that after this? Holy fuck, that was after this. That's from this movie. That happened so many times in this movie.
Cool. I want a list of that. If you got them on your notes.
I
that'll
do.
be
Just I can go through them. But this movie does it better than the other. Like, I'm afraid of watching Indiana Jones now after watching this movie, because this movie was so fucking good. It's like a combination of like Indiana Jones and Star Wars and like There Will Be Blood and like all of my favorite movies, basically.
Yeah.
Was this movie.
Oh, wow. You're right. I didn't even think about the There Will Be Blood angle, but you're right.
Yeah. He's like
totally
slowly going mad.
Yeah.
And John, one of the things you're going to hate is that it's not historically accurate to a point. But
I will speak to that.
Yeah. But speaking to that too, if you describe this movie if you were to describe this 4-hour-long movie in 30 seconds, you probably get it exactly accurate. But if you started talking about the character and like how he actually acted and like the individual battles, then you got a lot wrong there. But the story is like basically, just comparing it to what was that movie about the coder in World War II that we had to watch.
Oh God, about the what is it about Turing?
Yeah, Turing. This movie does the same kinds of things where it just fucks with the character, so the people who knew him actually were like pissed off at the movie. But this movie does it for a reason, I think. Like, it does it better.
But also Lawrence was a bit of a mystery, and you had people on both sides, which was different than, say, with Turing. Turing, we had a pretty good idea of what he really was, and the film, for dramatic purposes, tried to put him in a worse light.
Turing was like underneath paper his entire life, so people recorded his actions. This guy was like in the middle of the fucking desert, basically.
Right. And this guy, it's like some people thought they portrayed him much better than he actually was. Some people were. So it sort of there's
depends
a
if
bit of
you're
balance
homophobic
there.
or not. I think is what really listening to it.
Maybe
possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
So I think I felt like that this guy is a bit of a mystery in some ways, and certainly he has his advocates that say he did more than this, and there's some people he said did less, and
the people who wrote the books on him are all conflicting in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like, it depends
exactly.
on who you're listening to.
There's some definite conflicting things about the sort of how some of the Arabs were portrayed, but it's still. Well, I'll talk about it more on my turn too, but I think it still does some even-handedness in some places, and it's still, man.
So everyone does questionable things, but they're not that terrible, and they kind of are all aware of their. They're kind of. One of the flaws is that everyone's super self-aware of exactly who they are in the plot.
Which is like not a thing in real life. Yeah, right.
In some ways, that's the other part that makes this less. It's clearly not that historical accurate in that way, because it feels so much like a Hollywood movie that I don't feel like it's, at least, and maybe I'm sure some people might watch this and think that this is true to fact or something, but I get such a Hollywood feel from it that it already, as you say, it has a Star Wars sort of Indiana Jones feel. And so I don't feel like this film is trying to be, or maybe it's trying, but I don't come away from this film thinking, oh, this is realism,
But at the same time, there are things, I agree with you, but I like, there are things that happen in this movie that get me thinking
Right.
about reality in ways I've never thought of them before. Specifically when Obi-Wan Kenobi's character chases after the plane on his horse with a sword. And he's just
Right,
like,
Faisal.
Faisal was just like, so into like, every time there was a battle, he was ready. He was fucking going no matter what. Unthinking,
Faisal,
battling.
Alec Guinness, I loved it. I just
You loved shoe polish Alec Guinness? You loved his shoe polish?
Yes, I fucking love the character of Faisal too, and how they portrayed him as so like caring for his people, being very politically savvy. Faisal as a character was played with immense amount of respect, and like it was done very well. It was like he was possibly my favorite character. in the way that he was
fucking
played.
Peter O'Toole.
I know. But anyway, in terms of, it was really kind of like when you see Obi-Wan later, you're like, man, you see bits of that there. And this is so much more nuanced than Obi-Wan was, because you're seeing this guy sort of, you almost think that Faisal what Obi-Wan was like in his prime or something when he was doing the wars and battling. And TC, if you don't know, that's a Star Wars character that Alec Guinness later plays.
I got that much. Yeah, I got that much.
Okay, didn't know.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But anyway,
I
sorry,
figured it out as you kept
go on,
talking.
go on.
Yeah.
This movie is comparable to 2001 Space Odyssey and how good it looks. I thankfully spent the extra $2 and rented this HDR. I have like an HDR TV, and somebody apparently mastered this in 4K HDR, and it looked fucking incredible.
The color of the people looks a little weird, but maybe that's makeup. I don't know. But sometimes the colorization looked like a Technicolor thing to me, but maybe that's the version I had.
Maybe. Because like I was loving how like, I think even 2001 just like started to compare it, like the scene where he blows the match out and it hard cuts to the sunset.
Oh man.
That was ripped off in 2001. And that's one of the best shots in 2001 and one of the prettiest movies ever, ripped off of this movie.
But this scene, the way they did this one, where in the first time he blows out the match, he doesn't. He lets it burn into his fingers.
Yep.
And the second time where he's about to take on this challenge and he chooses to blow out. I just love the contrast with that.
Was so good.
That was so
one of the
cool.
standout moments of the movie for sure.
Right. And to do that, and that again, 2001 is fantastic as well. And other than how there weren't the characters that there, that in the way this movie has characters.
Yep.
And so, I mean, this film is about the desert and the place, but it also really has these amazing characters in it too, which is,
They did a great job of showing the desert though, huh? I mean, really.
Oh my God, dude.
Some of those the lighting things they had, lighting setups they had up for the nighttime shit. I was like, holy shit.
Dude, how did they get the shots where like the wind was blowing the sand around? But in the like one of the issues I had with this movie is they had the fake nighttime shots, which is one of the biggest things that I got annoyed with. But like some of the you could tell when those were happening, but there were other times where you could tell it was nighttime, and the lighting was incredible. Like I don't know how they got nighttime lighting like that when all the wind was blowing around. I think it was when he was trying to figure out his plan, like when he stayed out in the desert all night and the two like orphan kids like stared at him all night, towards the first half of the movie.
Yep.
Those were definitely nighttime shots, and I don't know how. Maybe they just waited for a full moon or something. I have no idea. It looked fucking incredible.
I think they just use lights. No,
I don't know. How many lights do you need? They're in the middle of the desert. They literally had to truck water for the entire crew 150 miles in a truck where they were shooting in Jordan. So I mean,
they have waited for moonlight though?
Yeah.
Jesus, that seems like a little bit much. I don't think film works like that.
So this film did. It was kind of the producer worked with David Lean before. So the movie The Bridge on the River Kwai was a huge success.
Yeah.
We'd watched that one on this list. Huge success for them, and they wanted to ride the epic story sort of train that they had, and they ran out of money by the end of it. Like not even at the end, like before the end of it, they actually had to move the shoot. They were shooting in Jordan. They had to move to Spain because Spain is cheaper to shoot in, and David Lean had assets there that he could like give the government or something to like let them film. But they were like running out of money because it costs so much money to make this movie. So John, like what you said about the characters is pretty accurate. Like the fact that I cared so much about all the characters in this movie, on top of all the technical stuff, on top of like loving being in the setting. Like I think the biggest barrier I faced, I guess, why I didn't watch this is I don't like movies that are in the desert. Deserts seem unwelcoming to me. You know what I mean? Like it seems
they are.
I don't want to be there. But this movie, I kind of like being there for some reason. Did you guys feel the same way or what?
That's a good. I've never really thought about it like that.
It gave me the sense of adventure, the sense of like whether it's space, it's like this forbidding but interesting place. And I think that, again, your 2001 parallel is really interesting. That it's again, this is the thing about the story is how much of a like sort of like flawed hero story it is. And part of that is this sense of adventure where you're going in a place that's dangerous, but that is, is also beautiful. And
he's a masochist in this movie. For some reason.
And many say in real life he had a real masochistic streak. That he would pay somebody to beat him, according to some accounts, like whip him after in his later life.
Well, yeah, one of the guys that was talking was like the rape scene in this movie. He was like, there are some accounts where he put himself in that situation. You're like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you say that and not explain what you're talking about?
Right. That one account, apparently that was, as far as there wasn't anybody contradicting what happened there in that city, that something like that, apparently, according to Lawrence, it happened. And then they haven't found anything to really contradict that. But in fact, worse happened. That he actually got raped. They didn't really show that there in this movie. They just show him getting beaten.
No, they show him getting raped.
Did they show? I thought
it's
they showed
implied.
Him
like there's a scene where his eyes are panicked, and it cuts to like the other guy's lips. And I remember rewinding. I was like, "Is that implied rape? Like, is rape about to happen? Is that what that means?" And it definitely is.
I thought they were just that they're just going to beat him severely first. Then
it was when like the guy was touching his chest. And it cuts to like Lawrence's eyes, and he's all panicked. And it cuts to the dude touching his chest's lips. You're like, there's no reason they would cut to his lips if they're like sexual shit wasn't about to start happening.
Right.
So
smart.
Yeah, it was gross. That scene was gross.
It was very disturbing.
And the guy who was like holding him down was smiling. Oh man, this movie has a lot of flaws, but it's fucking crazy how good this movie is.
Yeah, it's insane.
The beginning, what else? I keep talking. The beginning was the worst part of the movie. I wasn't into the movie.
Oh, really? Which one was where? What happens in the very
motorcycle part?
I did very much. Why don't we just kind of go through the film and all just talk together on it? I mean, so I did love the opening credits for two
hated
reasons.
It.
Oh, really?
I wrote so many notes being like, this is fucking long. This is so unnecessarily long.
Get through.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it was played when people were just filtering in the theater. So.
No, I wrote down, people took a long time to get popcorn and Diet Cokes back in the 1960s.
Yeah, right? There weren't any beers back then to get. They were just drinking whiskeys.
I think maybe having seen the film before, this like has a whole lot of weight to it. Knowing that he's like just slowly preparing for his last motorcycle ride before he dies. So for me, I really liked it.
I liked how the ending came around to it a lot. Like the ending was amazing, but just the way the first part was shot was the clunkiest part of the movie.
I liked the overhead. Just like, it's like you're just sort of watching him from a window getting ready to go. And the other thing I was just noticing is like, wow, this score is very John Williams like before John Williams was doing his thing.
I thought the same thing.
That's very true, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, it's not as hooky as say like John.
No, it is, dude. Are you kidding? I actually wrote like 3/4 of the way through the movie. I was like, I'm getting sick of this theme song. Like they played.
I mean, I was whistling it by the end. I was whistling it by the end. So.
After 4 hours. But no, I mean, what I mean by hooky is, I mean, it doesn't hook you as much. It's not as exciting and interesting, but it's got that feel where it's got like a refrain and a theme.
It's got like 5 seconds of the thing that repeats, and it does it in so many different ways. Yeah, it really works for a lot of it, but by the end, it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, I had enough of the no. That's enough. That's enough. Stop it. Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I think maybe if you were to watch this film again, you might find yourself not hating that opening scene so much. I don't know.
Really?
I watch it, and I think part of it was like,
when will I have time to ever watch this 4-hour-long movie again?
Right?
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I could use another watch, and I already tried it 3 times.
I think that the reason too is that like what comes after that is some of my favorite stuff with Lawrence's character, and so like right when you start seeing him, when
he's being like interviewed for the project, basically,
and he first talks, it's so amazing that so maybe that's part of why I was like knowing
his character is like extremely intermittently hilarious in how he responds to some of the things that happen to him.
Yeah, his dialogue, the way he talks, Michael John Hartley, he just says their full names. Just why, I don't know, but they decide that's what he does, and it's
very
just
proper.
It's very proper. It's very, but it's just very. It's just amazing.
People try
to
do this kind of thing a lot, where they add like he's an eccentric outsider, and it sucks most of the time. But for some reason, just the way he's written and the way he acts it is perfect. Like I fucking loved watching him every second he was on the screen, even when I didn't understand what was going on. Like there was a scene where he was like getting shot at, jumping ahead a little bit. And he didn't move, and that was confusing. But I was still like, oh, is that because he's fucking crazy and he actually thinks he's a god?
He is starting to think he's starting to think that he cannot be harmed. That was it. He was starting, and that's where you get to the he gets broken by being beaten and raped later, and that's how you see him.
But he liked that too. He had to have liked that too, right?
Yeah, to some extent, but he also felt like he was untouchable. He was starting to feel like he was. He was a god, or he was. I think that's what I thought.
I thought he wanted
I didn't get that either.
Punishment. I thought he was controlling the situation.
Oh, I thought he was just thinking he could. That guy shot at him and missed, and he's like, I can't be shot.
That's probably what
that was almost
that makes more sense.
Like he was starting to almost buy into the mystique that they had about him.
Yeah, his own. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. Like honestly, I don't know if I followed most of this movie.
What did you think of it as we're going through?
I mean, it was fucking awesome.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it was fucking awesome. There were times where I'm like, what's going on again?
I did. So I had to rewatch the ending because honestly,
Same.
I stopped paying attention and then it ended and I was like, fuck.
Same.
Oh, whoops.
Same.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me, Denny.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I was like sitting on my bed.
It's like, it's so
hour went by
action-packed.
because after 3, you're sitting there, dude. You're sitting there for 3 hours.
It's too
you're
long.
Like,
I'm not used to it, man. I'm not used to 4 hours.
It is very long.
But like I did really like the ending. After rewatching it a second time, I was like, that's really good. But after the war scenes and stuff, especially after the intermission is 2.5 hours into this movie, which is insane. But then like it kicks off into a bunch of awesome action set pieces where they're like destroying trains. And then there's the last battle and then it tapers off into like 40 minutes of talking, basically. And at some point during that, I was just like, oh, it's over. Fuck. I have to rewatch that. If I'm going to talk about this movie, I got to rewatch this part.
Yeah,
like I'm sitting there going, so there's horses. I was just at a part where
compared to that,
what is this? What is this? Horses?
All those traversing scenes where they're walking across the desert seemed so fucking real. The wind is there. The guy falls down. Like all of that it was so good the way they did that scene. You just have to keep going, right? Like he just fucking moved on. Like you can't sit and mourn the guy. You just got to keep fucking walking through the goddamn desert or you're going to die.
That's right. You don't have a choice. Keep on going.
So even like going back to the first scene in the officer's mess or the officer's sort of like, and you're seeing him as a character. It's some of my favorite, like, I don't know of a movie that better does this, where you see a character and he's just very different and you're just completely like taken with him just immediately. Or at least I can't think of a similar thing.
I was. The first scene got like after the motorcycle part, I was hooked after that first
exactly. Yeah, right. It's so amazing. And he's just, the speech patterns are amazing, and then there's all just this British properness, which is just really almost funny.
But then his character like uses it to manipulate people.
Right. But he shows the temper. They're like playing pool, and he's getting pissed, so he just like breaks the billiard balls. He just breaks the rack that they had. And I love
it. He trips over the guy right behind him.
Yeah, but I love that before then the American or the British response is like, I say.
Yeah.
It's not like,
and he's like, what are you going to do, dude? You got trousers on.
I say, Lawrence.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really funny. The British response to that,
Go for it. Go for it, Charlie. Go for it.
They're playing one of the weird red ball British games. What is that? Snooker?
That's like,
is that snooker?
Snooker. Yeah.
Snooker.
The best Mitchell and Webb look skit ever. Snooker.
Yeah, ever.
Yeah. But there's some great lines. It's like, it's my manner, sir. It looks insubordinate, but it isn't really.
Yep, love that.
Oh man,
he's still being an asshole, right?
No, he is. He's like, of course I am. I'm the man for the job. And what's my job, by the way? Again, just there's these. That whole sequence up until he goes out is just some of my favorite bits, just where it shows his character. There's
another thing that I agree 100%. There's very few scenes like that in the movie though, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, it's got to be hard to write those scenes. There's a scene like halfway through the movie where he brings his one surviving little buddy back, and they're in the officers' bar area, and the guy's just like chugging the lemonade, and he looks at the dude and he's like, he likes your lemonade. And then the guy comes over and just fucking grabs him. And he's like, this is a bar for officers. And he's like, I don't mind. I'm not particular. And you're like, dude, this guy's fucking hilarious. He's been awake for 40 days and he just saw someone die and he's cracking jokes. Right.
And I want a bed and I want a mattress. And he's like, for him.
It's for him.
And everyone's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's pissed too. He's like cracking. He's at the same time, he's pissed and he shows all of that at once. And the way he will pause and before, even while he's like in the desert, he will pause before speaking, like before when he's with the guide and he's asking him questions, and he'll just have this pause before saying yes, and another pause, no, and just the speech mannerisms are just, I don't know. It's unlike
really
anything.
thinking it through.
You can
before
see
he
him
answers.
thinking through his answers in his eyes and through like the way he talks. I think the best part of this movie is not the cinematography, which is a close second, but Peter O'Toole, his character is fucking great. And I think that's the reason I'm going to definitely watch this movie again. It's a 4-hour-long movie.
Oh,
right.
Jesus.
It's good. This is the third time I've seen it, and I had forgotten how much I enjoyed it, and I was happy to watch it again. Once it kicked off and I saw his character again, I was like excited.
Dude, how is he not in anything else? I've never seen him before. He was fucking amazing in this movie.
I think this was wasn't he? Maybe he was a theater actor, and then this was his first Hollywood role. I don't know. I thought you would know trivia. You know the story of how he got this role or something. But,
No, I did. Like,
okay.
Brando turned it down. A bunch of people turned down this role. I don't know who
Brando.
who turns down a role.
The desert.
They were like, "Hey, the script's 4 hours long." They're like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah. I'm not gonna memorize those lines. Brando. I don't want 4 hours of Brando whining about how hot it is.
Oh, I'm so glad Brando is not in this fucking movie.
I could have been cool. I could have been in the air conditioning. I could have been there. I could have been in the cool
He wouldn't be able to do the
water.
match scene. He wouldn't do the match scene. Oh, it hurts. I burn in my hand.
Yeah, we're fans of Brando here. That's what's happening.
I know. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm on the waterfront. I'm not in the sand. What's the matter with you people? I already played against a guy named Charlie. I don't want to do this role. And they're like, "Oh, fuck it. Never mind, dude. On to the next."
Peter O'Toole was in like nothing before this movie. He only started acting 5 years before he was in this movie, and he was in TV shows.
Wow.
And then he wasn't. I'm looking through. He wasn't in anything.
He wasn't
else.
in much. It's like some movie called My Favorite Year. I don't know. He
was
some
in Caligula,
things.
which I never saw, but I've heard of.
It's like that was like a Penthouse thing, wasn't it? It was like an X-rated.
Yeah, it was orgies all the time.
Tight.
Got to watch that one. Why isn't that one on the list?
Tight. Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden I got 4 hours free.
Oh, he was in Ratatouille.
Oh, Ratatouille.
Oh, no, was he the critic?
Anton
was he in
Ego.
Ratatouille?
Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was the critic.
He was the critic. Amazing. But yeah, he wasn't in anything else, which is really, really weird, man. Like this performance is top notch.
Yeah,
comparable to like the
it's
best
sure.
acting I've ever seen. I think.
No, well, so it's stunning he didn't get. I mean, again, he was up against Gregory Peck from To Kill a Mockingbird, which we watched last week.
Oh, I was going to mention that. We should compare them. Which one is better? I was like going into this one. I was like, "There's no way there is a comparison." I think there's a comparison.
Is there? Well, I would just say no. I think that this is so unique. I think what it's so, but it's so different. It's like unlike anything else.
But it isn't though, because it influenced everything else. It literally,
but before
every shot, I was like, "That's that movie.
Right.
That's that movie.
That's
this is from that
Wow.
movie. It stole it from this
Right.
movie because this movie is
at the
fucking
time,
crazy."
Like I don't know if I don't. At least I'm sure you can see like things that were, but back then that was like totally original.
Yes,
and what Gregory Peck did was great, but he was playing. That wasn't like
that movie has a really good like one-on-one emotional core to it. Like the story it's telling is really emotional. And it does it really well. But this movie is different. This movie is a fucking movie.
And it's an epic masterpiece.
You couldn't do this in any other form of media.
No.
That's
To Kill a Mockingbird could be a very good stage play, like a really
exactly.
good
and
one.
it feels like that. It actually feels like it might be a better stage play at times with some of the scenes.
But this one could not
honestly.
be. Like I'm amazed this even made it into a movie. Just like the first fucking action scene where the planes they have. You guys watch this on like a big screen?
I'd watch it on my TV.
TV.
I have a big-ish TV. I've seen it in the movie theater before, though,
but not
too,
a
and
phone. No one
fantastic.
watched it on their phone, right?
No.
I feel like
how could you?
No.
Yeah,
What would you do?
exactly.
4 hours, your arm would fall off. Holding it up. Kidding me?
But I think you lose a lot in this movie if you watched it on a smaller screen. As weird as that sounds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I mean, it is parts of it are slow. If you're not enjoying the way it looks, then what are you doing?
And
Like,
whenever
it's it.
usually any anniversary of it comes around, they usually a good film theaters often will replay it. It's definitely just I've seen it. Like there was when I was living in Salt Lake, I saw it at an indie theater there, and it was great. So it's definitely it's definitely worth again, if we ever get out of our houses again.
Never. I like it how this movie lets you stare at the sun. There's a lot of sun shots, and I can just stare directly into the center.
Yeah.
I never felt so comfortable. And also the way the music, whenever they show the sun, the violins are like, and we're like, I should be staring at the sun, but I am. I'm staring at it. Oh,
frying bacon. I love that. So in that scene, and like when
shit.
he's first out in the desert, and how he befriends the guide by giving him the gun, just that also was just
Such a
you
good
see-
basis for his character.
yeah. You see how he wins people over.
He's like, "Is
just
this your
that.
gun?" And like, if it was me, I'd be like, "Yeah, that's my gun.
Yeah.
Give it here."
Yeah,
And
it's my
he's like,
gun.
"No,
Yeah.
it was his because I gave it to him." Like, holy shit, this guy has morals. I like this guy a lot.
Right.
And balls.
And balls.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's pissed. Like he's out there and he's gonna Ali comes and shoots his guide, and then he's like, "No, I'm gonna find it myself. I got a compass."
Yeah, he seriously lives like there's nothing to lose.
Yeah. And that whole scene is also just another in and of itself, And
Dude,
again, this
The
replicated
mirage,
over and over and
the
over
shot
again.
of the guy coming
Right.
towards them was
Right.
one of the best fucking things I've ever seen. Like, I couldn't even tell. It was perfect. I couldn't tell what was happening. You're like, what are they looking at? There's a dot.
Yeah.
Okay. It's coming. What are they doing? They're staring.
Oh, it's
They're doing
coming.
it like, in other movies, you'd be like, why didn't they get the gun earlier? Because they were looking at the dot and be like, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like a normal
Well, and
person.
who is
would.
it? Is
yeah.
is it friendly? Is it not friendly? We don't know. Right.
Yeah. Like, what
It
are we
was
gonna
awesome.
have to do right now? Yeah. Yeah.
And,
It's
and
realistic.
Omar Sharif is fantastic.
I thought I was going to hate
one of
that
the
character.
most-
Like when he killed the guy, I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's a dick. But by the end, I was like,
Yeah.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
Yeah. See, isn't that amazing?
It is. It's incredible. And even at the end, when
Like-
he like walks into the shadows, when he's like, yeah, I'm not made for like this bureaucratic bullshit that we're trying right now, and then leaves.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
that
yeah.
is an amazing fucking exit for that character. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good. And again, there's one thing the film does, which is great, is it gets you interested in this period. And it's not necessarily, you can't know for sure what's real, what's not real. And one of the criticisms often leveled is how it depicts, the savagery between the tribes or whatnot. But still, just the way it all plays out as an adventure film. And the idea of the sort of, warrior type people is really like, you think of any other all kinds of examples of it, or Klingons in Star Trek or what have you. I mean, it's just an
That's
amazing.
the example you're going to get
Klingons,
with
that's
this
what
crowd,
you
John.
want.
I'm
Klingons.
sure there's better. Right.
Copy that.
Ali does it or Omar Sharif does it so well. And this is like one of the arguably one of the best stage actors ever in terms of like just what he's done. So
He was
it's
famous
pretty amazing to see
elsewhere
him.
before making this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's fantastic.
He's fantastic. Yep.
Yeah. So the way we get introduced to him is really good. And then we see him later. So it's just, I think that whole introduction sequence just by itself sits by itself really well. Just where he has his guide, you see how he treats the guide, then his guide gets shot, you see how he interacts with Ali. And that whole sequence just sort of is like, it's like its own chapter that just sits by itself in a way too.
You
which-
could
and
watch
it's really
each
amazing.
movie, each of these movies. You could watch them each act by itself.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like
it
it,
would be enough.
definitely feels like this film is like structured that way, and I think that it might be the other thing that really helps the film too, is that it's sort of like it feels like that there are these encapsulated pieces, so it's not like this one long drawn out bit kind of, which might.
Oh, no,
which
it
can
is.
be
But it
really
is
too-
at the,
Well,
by the end, it
they're
really
not
brings it
exact.
back
there's
around.
a story going on,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah,
you've got episodes sort of that are sort of there's some self-contained bits to them. I think,
But there's
that-
such
that are really
extreme
cool.
consistency. Like this movie was filmed over a year and a half in the fucking desert, and his character
Crazy.
is so consistently linear in how he's like
Right.
kind of falling apart as things go on.
Yeah, you're right.
It's so good.
It's done amazingly well. And again, the way that O'Toole does suffering and intensity is really amazing.
Yeah.
I think that it's
I mean, it almost makes sense that he was a TV actor.
Do you think? Oh,
How's that?
because he's
What's
like
that?
used to taking
On
extreme direction.
episodes over time. Yeah. And no, just
Oh,
be
yeah,
having
yeah,
him
that's
act
true.
the same way
Oh.
over time, like a whole season.
all
of
right
shit.
for like years. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that's a good point.
What else? Where are we at in the plot here, John?
So then he's there. So then he has his guide, but then he goes and he finds Faisal, and Alec enters the scene, and I'm like, I yell, Alec! And I'm
my
happy to see
favorite.
him. He's so awesome. He is so awesome. Like
One my least favorite consistent part of this movie was his character.
what?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but like it was such like I didn't like him as much as everyone else. Like I liked the murderers in this movie is how likable a lot of the characters were.
We'll see. This is what he's a leader of his people, and he shows his concern for them. But he is also a politician, and he shows it. And I think that's what I really like about his character.
His
They're
look
showing
kind of
their-
pissed me off. His like, yes, I am the king. That is correct.
His like distance, but you see the same kind of distancing in the British politicians. The two, like the general to some extent, and the other guy who's like the French diplomat or whatever his name is.
I like the general, the English
The
general
more
guy was
portly
awesome.
guy. Yeah. But these guys, you see that, and then in the end of the film, when he explains it, he's like, "Yeah, it's time for politics," and you see some of the
Yep.
similarities, and that's
And
what
he's
I
good
like.
at it.
Yeah,
Mm,
and that's what I really loved about his character is they're showing that, and I don't know, I think he plays it in a really nuanced way because you still see that he cares for these people and he appreciates what Lawrence is doing.
My favorite cut to him was when like there's a shot. This is going to be hard to describe, but it's like if you were to balance a ping pong ball in the back of your hands and like show somebody that, it cuts to him doing that, and he talks like that for a while, and then he like halfway through the conversation, he starts moving his hand back and forth just to like. You ever like watch How to Be a Good Public Speaker and you want to keep like a power zone near you, like just like small little movements to show that you're totally in control of what you're talking about. You're in
charge, right?
Yeah.
And I love it when he's like he has that talk with the reporter and he's just like he's just so aware of what's happening. I don't know. I just really love that about his character, and I think Alec just does a fantastic job of doing it. He acts like a prince, like a king. He does, and I don't think
how many princes and kings do you know, John?
Do you know what you like? Do you know
only from Disney movies, and those have not left me feeling very satisfied.
Right.
So you're more satisfied. This is better than.
Yes. I don't think that's what a king is really like.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what a prince would do.
And he has so many great like lines that I think he pulls off so well for him to say, "No Arab loves the desert," or when he's talking towards the end, he's like,
born here, asshole, right?
I just think it's to him,
but
that kind of character is so unique.
Because Lawrence is, or should I say Orange? Everyone called him Orange in this movie.
Orange, not Orange. I think it's like Orange. It's like the L was.
I had a couple of those. Like,
too,
are they
right?
calling him Orange?
Yeah.
Is it because his tan is burning? Like, is he because his skin is burning? That's what I thought was happening.
And I wonder how well this would have gone off if he wasn't British and he was Larry of Arabia. Like whatever,
Larry
Dwight
of Arabia.
Oh,
that's exactly right.
Timmy Arabia over here.
I just don't got a story there, man. I'm sorry, you're just not going to work. That's the whole thing's just not going to take off. No legs there.
Larry of Arabia.
I'm Larry. Yeah, we're going to have this uprising. Come on, let's go.
Hey, I'm Larry of Arabia here. I'm coming in here to fix your desert. Is there anything wrong with the desert here? I'm Larry, Arabia.
That's a problem with butt crack. You got a problem here.
Yeah, you got a problem here. No, I don't know if I brought enough spackle to handle the whole desert here. It's going to be a big job. Got to get a couple more Larrys, if you don't mind. Yeah, Larry of Arabia. Thank you.
That's pretty awesome.
That's a good TV spin-off.
Kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Larry
I
Arabia.
got 10,000 pounds of spackle for the desert problems that you're having.
I got booze if you need booze. They're like, we don't need booze, dude. We got sand. Fuck.
He's like, all right, good, more for me. Oh, actually.
We're already dehydrated. He goes, I fucking live dehydrated, Yeah. Anyway,
nice.
Moving on.
What else, John? Where are we at now?
All right, so we get introduced to Faisal, right? So then it's like Lawrence then it like convinces him, and he's like going off with 50 men to Aqaba, but he doesn't tell Faisal. Why not? Like Faisal's like there. I was confused
being kind
at
of
that
a
point.
bitch at that point, though.
Yeah, how did everyone else sign on with him? They didn't even know him. They signed off to go. There were parts like that. I mean, yeah,
I think
agree
he convinced Ali. My guess there was it was like Ali and him worked it out, and then they
Ali
were
didn't
going
like
off.
him at that point.
No, but Ali also thought Aqaba was a good idea.
But why?
So
because he didn't. Yeah. He had to explain himself even to Alec Guinness. You'd think that Alec Guinness would fucking know that was a good idea.
Well, I don't know and that it is another
fake. It's false. That's false.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly Faisal's. A lot of Faisal's leadership in terms of deciding that, making that decision. It sounded like.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems with the movie is that the British Army, I guess, had a lot to do. Like a lot of the stuff that in this movie, they were like, he did it by himself because he thought it was good, and the British Army didn't. No, the British Army was like directing him the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah, to some extent. Yeah, I mean, but he did things. He certainly did a lot of things and participated in battles and helped with a lot of strategy.
He did, but I mean, it wasn't. None of it was hidden. It was all directed. Like he didn't do anything against the government, basically.
Right. He wasn't like the rogue sort of out on his own kind of thing. He was more. I mean, he certainly did believe in Arab independence, and that's what he fought for. And even though because of the treaty, they were going to just divvy up Syria between France and England.
So says his book. So this movie's based on his book. T.E. Lawrence wrote a book, and this movie's based on the book.
Sure. And the 7 Pillars of Wisdom, right?
Which is, by all accounts, the least accurate portrayal of what he actually did, because he wrote it himself.
Right.
But at the same time, what can you do? Because there's no solid, like if you look into it, there's no like, this is the real thing. It's like, oh, we think this happened, or you could believe him. I don't know.
Right, but the people who did the Faisal and they spoke very well of him, and they said that he was instrumental in getting some of this stuff done.
Yes.
So there's this sort of like gray area. It's not like he was this complete imposter either. He actually did some remarkable things, and then you have like different sides that argue one way or the other.
Dude, he is Indiana Jones. He was like an architecture, or he was an archaeologist student.
I'm an architecture.
He was an architect.
I'm an architect.
He's going to build a high-rise in the middle of the desert.
Bear this weight.
We'll bring the water in through the sand. That's a terrible idea.
You're more of an architect, Danny. What would like Indiana architect be like?
It would be a lot of sitting inside and not doing anything.
Dun, 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 dun,
I want to draw some more.
He's drawing.
I think I need to draw another box over here.
When I get home, I want to jump over a ball, and that ball's going to open the front door. That's then going to pour me a glass of water. Can I get that done, Larry? He's like, yeah, sure, guy, I got you. Yeah.
He's also a
I brought up
refrigerator
spackle
designer.
for that, I think. Yeah, I brought up spackle. We'll get that off.
I got some boulder. I got some spackle. We're good.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's the end of the fucking architect right there.
He meets the two guys as his servant. Like they're going out to Aqaba. That's where you kind of start meeting more of the characters, like the two guys that are going to serve. We meet the guy that he's going to A, save and then B, shoot later. Which apparently he did end up shooting somebody for like to solve a dispute, but it wasn't the same guy he'd saved earlier. But it was the guy he saved, but he wasn't the same guy he ended up shooting.
That scene in the movie was one of the best scenes in the movie. That
scene was really good.
The fact that he like didn't have like, I feel like in any other movie that scene would have been like drawn out and overly dramatic and like had music swells, but it was just him being like, how do I fix this? He's like, I'm in the middle of the fucking desert. These people are about to kill each other. What do I do? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? I have to kill this guy. This is the guy I just saved. Fuck. Bang, 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 bang.
Right.
You're like,
fuck it.
And all the while you see how it torments him, but it's all done very quickly.
The way he misses, when the guy starts crawling away, that was brutal. And it doesn't even show him. It just shows like the guy fall over and then him trying to aim and just struggling with like multiple bullets. Fucking, it was so good.
I mean, they did it similarly where when he had to shoot his other companion after he'd fallen. And this actually did happen. Apparently, he got shot. It wasn't the blasting cap that did it, but apparently he did get shot riding.
Dude, you put explosives in your pants and then you don't know where they are? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
What's the matter with you? Even Larry wouldn't do that.
I know. And Larry, you don't put the blast. What are you doing with that blasting cap? Get that out of there.
What are you doing with the bomb in your jacket, bro? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Lawrence. I spackled the explosives on my arm. It's right here.
Dude, I'm glad you brought your cargo pants so you could hang your spackle off your belt, but that's not the place you put the bomb, dude.
Right, yeah, you blow us all up here. Yeah, I know. He's your brother. You sort him out.
He's your brother. That's right. There you go. Yeah. Why'd you bring your brother? I told you your brother was an idiot. He's not an idiot. He's a nice guy. He put the bomb in his fucking cargo pants, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
He puts a plastic cap in his pants. An idiot does, right? Right? Smart people don't put plastic
Timmy, help me out here. Fuck all of you. I don't give a shit. Fucking die for it. I can't blow yourself up. Fuck you. Is it time to go home yet? Need a beer.
Timmy, we're never going home.
No, Timmy doesn't go home.
Timmy lives at home now.
But anyway, that scene was great. But there's something that happens a couple of times in this film where it seems like
negative part coming in.
Yeah, negative part just where it seems like there's a line and the line seems very staged. So there's a couple of times I noticed this, like when he says like all favors the merciful, it's for some reason just doesn't seem like it's naturally said, and even like
it is written. It is not written.
Oh, I like that. That almost made me laugh, even though it was really tragic. Like after he shoots the guy, because he the whole point was like nothing is rented. And when he goes to save the guy, and then he shoots him, and then there's just like some bystander conversation, like who is that? Oh, that was the guy who saved. He's like, oh, so it was written then.
Okay.
It was written. So it was written. Funny.
Yeah. Told you it was written.
Yeah. Right.
Somebody wrote that shit down, and that guy's dead now.
Yeah,
guys, like I told you, in 100 years, we're going to have Mulder and he's going to find the aliens. It's written, dude. It's in the fucking book.
Fate, destiny. That's pretty common.
Yeah, he's with some redhead chick. I don't know, but they got aliens coming, dude. Come on.
But back to my point, for some reason, there's some lines that are focused on so much, they just seem staged and weird. Like when Ali says...
How dare you, John?
Like,
This movie's from the 60s. This movie is
I know.
goddamn flawless for a movie from the 60s.
No, it sticks. I think it's because everything
He's
else
kinda got
seems
a
so
point.
naturally done. It really sticks out. Like when Ollie says, "God, give me patience," when he like thinks he's not going to get caught in that city. It just feels weird. It's just like, wow, that was just like some dramatic line thrown in there for dramatic effect, and it really sticks out. And
No,
that
yeah,
was just.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I kind of chalked it up to his character always. He's like a scholar, so he always has these lines from these famous books going on in his head. So maybe like
Oh yeah.
while he's thinking about the lines, like every once in a while it pops up and like syncs up with what's going on. So he just like says it out loud. That's what I don't know. I agree though.
It's logical.
It seemed
Yeah.
It's
it
logical.
kind of took me out a little bit, but not really at all.
But then I got right back in it.
Oh yeah, and then the Aqaba scene, like you see all the camels going through the city, like people. That was just amazing when they're actually going through the city. That whole battle scene. It's like, God, how did they staging all of that?
There
with
was
the
a shot of a
camels
guy
and-
in
I
the
know.
front. You're in the front of all these horses and camels running, and the guy in the front falls off of this fucking camel. And they're just like, how does that extra not die? There are just horses
Who
behind
knows?
him.
He might have.
There's like 1,000 horses behind him.
Yeah, it was just woof. Yeah, it was that whole
What's woof?
sequence
Is that a good sound, John? Is that
like,
good?
good. No,
No,
it's
that's
like
a
how the
oof.
hell did they pull that off? It was just
They just did.
Yeah,
it. This
the
movie
whole
just
sequence
does
was like-
everything. Like every single
Yeah.
thing you see is happening, which is part of the best part of the movie. Like there are just so many fucking extras in all the battle scenes. So many horses, so many costumes. There's no goddamn Starbucks cup like in fucking Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like it's perfect. It's flawless. It's a period piece that brings up how weird it would have been to be in the desert with swords and then all of a sudden have these people who have like figured out how to fly guns in the air coming to attack
Yeah.
you and just being like, what do we do? We're totally fucked. We have nothing to fight these people with.
We
They
didn't,
have
we didn't
better
think this was
weapons.
even possible.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the coolest part of the movie in terms of just like never thinking, like realistically thinking about how World War I was like a crazy war in that it modernized war where everybody was using electronic and mechanical machines.
It's no, again, the battle scenes are pretty amazing, and just the amount of like people and animals that they're dealing with is just
Oh, it's
It's
nuts.
pretty
Just
striking.
coordination was
the
insane.
horses when
It's one
they're
thing I
unloading the
noticed for
horses
sure.
from the train. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking horse train. How like they had to put the horses on the trains in the desert and then
Jesus.
fucking get them all to jump off at the same time? What?
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. And then they all like
It's fucking
herded
crazy.
them and gathered them and then fucking, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking
Did it all, did
Crazy.
it again? Christ's
did it
sake.
again. How many takes?
Yeah.
How many takes was that?
I don't know. Lot.
Neither do I.
Has to be.
I wanted to ask TC. One of the things I thought TC would hate was the ADR.
Oh,
I gave this one some leeway.
Some leeway? Oh, did you now?
Yeah.
Because it was so good. It just kind of excused
Yeah.
itself.
I sure did.
well, in the setting, given those outdoor settings, my God, how
I
would
wasn't
you?
picking it apart because the visuals were so good
Yeah.
that like this they sort of carried it without the sound being. I mean, it's 1960. They're in the desert. It's fucking no sound you can get. There's also
Did you notice
that, right?
the Alec Guinness scene where halfway through the scene it cut to a different audio source?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
but it happened a couple times with the general too, like where they were close mic'd on one shot and then they were far mic'd
No,
on the next. And
this
they
one
swapped.
was in the same shot. Like they never do that. Like this
Oh,
one was
weird.
mid shot. They changed the audio source.
I
And
mean,
was
the
like,
only
what
time
fuck?
ADR really bothers me is like when we're watching fucking Redford there and it's on a set, on a closed set, and they're doing ADR. Like you guys couldn't have figured that out. Couldn't
It's
give me
just
something
Redford.
that's real. Yeah,
I'm just hypercritical
just
of Redford.
I just got that guy. So I don't know. It didn't bother me, honestly.
That's
Like I said,
great.
I was kind of enamored with the visuals, so that sometimes I wasn't even paying attention to the story. To be quite honest, I was
That's
just like
fair.
watching all the
You
shit
don't need to.
in it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like
It's
looking
like
at all
a
the
porno.
stuff.
This movie
Yeah, every
is a
fucking-
fucking desert porno.
Every time you'd see like every time I'd see something coordination like that would be insane. I'm like, holy fuck! There's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's got to be 50 people in that shot or 60 people in that shot, and they're all doing something, And it's in the desert. The fuck are these people doing? What was the idea here? Yeah, it's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Even the scene where he's trying to like win over the that first army they kind of recruit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're sitting like with the food, and there's just a party going on behind them with like 1,000 people.
I know.
No, I just noticed that. It's like, God, look at that. How are they doing it? And then when he cuts in to speak to them and get them to cheer back to him, and how fluid that all seems.
And they're like shaking the sticks in the air and shit. By the way, everybody, the sticks in the desert, fucking useful. A little bamboo stick. You need a bamboo stick to survive in the desert. That's for damn sure. What, to whack your camel and also to whack your friends if they're falling asleep?
Definitely to whack the camel. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I just keep talking myself into a hole.
Yeah,
I mean, you started in a hole. You're fine.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, and again during their ride in the desert, like the tension between Ali and Lawrence's character I thought that was just, again, how their relationship develops is really cool.
Yeah, when they started out hating each other, well, now one hated the other, and then the other guy, then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, all right." You could see the shift. Like all of a sudden it was like, I'll shake your hand. You're all right. You're all right. You
also watch Ali losing patience with them or getting frustrated with him as towards on the other side of it. And again, that's just, that whole arc is really kind of well done.
And it was just nice to see like the fucking people, like him proving that things could be done if you just fucking try first instead of just saying it couldn't be done.
Right.
All that long-term fucking thought process that they have out there. Like, you can't do that. And I was like, yeah, you could. It's like, oh, I guess you could. It's kind of cool to see. People just like, I don't know, thinking differently, I guess is the idea, which is tough for that region.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're right. I mean, it's this, again, this hero idea, whether what actually happened or not, that still, if you're going along with the movie, it becomes really fascinating that here's this guy who's a sort of a leader. He's flawed, very strange, very, very smart and charismatic all at the same time. And he's getting things done. And that's kind of the hero story. And that's another part of this film that makes it so like,
and he also keeps getting
watchable,
told he's like doing a lot of correct things, but he doesn't feel like he is. But everyone's like, dude, you're the man. And he's like, what? Really?
Yeah.
And you're like, but I agree.
It's like, I still feel like
you are
shit.
getting
I don't
shit
understand.
done.
Yeah. But and even the way they play it, when he gets back to the officers club, how it all sort of plays out there is, again, just really watchable, where everybody's just staring at him and then he gets the pats on the backs,
That was a little stagey too. That's a little stagey, too perfect timing right there.
I liked it. I did like it.
I agree.
What I did like was how they were all staring at him quietly for a while.
I was like, are they gonna? Do they hate him?
Impactful.
And then they start hitting him like, oh, they love him.
What
That's
are they
great.
thinking?
I love it.
Yeah. I guess the pat on the back is the British equivalent of the slow clap. I don't know.
Cheerio, chap. Cheerio. Oh,
yes.
Cheerio.
Cheerio, chap. Go ahead, Charlie. Charlie, go ahead.
Good man. Good man.
Good man, Charlie. Good man. Push on.
And then
push
the other
on,
thing
Charlie.
that this film does amazingly well is showing.
It does another
these,
thing.
Yeah, another thing. The evilness of the politicians, but how like normal it is for them and how manipulative they are. Like the Allenby and Dryden and those guys.
I agreed with them. I kind of agreed with. I don't know.
But
like,
you see them doing horrific things, like just holding off after Damascus is captured. They're going to hold off any kind of aid because they want it to collapse. So they're going to hold off.
That makes sense because that's part of their strategy, right?
It's strategic, right?
Right.
And the whole time, that's what they're doing. That there is pulling strategy.
When like the colonel was like, they're asking for the big guns, and he's like, "We'll get him for you. We'll get him for you."
Yeah.
And then they walk away, and he's like, "Are we gonna get him for him?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "I knew you weren't gonna get him for him. Fuck you.
You're not gonna get him." Yeah,
but even then, and then they show that exchange. I really like too because then they're like, here I actually was pulling up that quote here because he's like, yeah. So like Dryden's like, give them artillery and you made them independent. And Allenby says, well, then I can't give them artillery, can I?
I like that.
And then,
I like that a
Dryden
lot.
is,
right.
Dryden is
that's
like, for you to say, sir. And Allenby's saying, no, it's not. I've got orders to obey. You're really seeing these people like it's like, that wasn't my decision. I'm just pulling out. This isn't my strategy. I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah.
I'm in the right spot because I'm able to
basically.
execute these orders that I'm given by somebody else.
And the other thing he says then, and he's like saying, thank God. He's like, he's so, he's thankful that he's not the one making these decisions. And he's saying, not like that poor devil. He's riding the whirlwind. He's saying there's Lawrence out there.
One of the best lines in the movie. Oh, I love that.
Fuck, so these are, you could have just made these nasty, horrible, evil generals because of the things that they're doing and not show that they have some insight into Lawrence's character or how they're manipulating him. But I just, again, it's just really like nuanced. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, look at Larry out there, poor bastard. This guy's fucking in the desert with a bunch of spackle. Trying to build a wall. He's trying to build a wall with nothing but spackle, the poor bastard,
But you have these scenes where Lawrence wants to give up and Allenby's talking him out of it. And Lawrence knows that's what he's doing. And it's like, you bastard.
Lawrence does
you
know. I like that a lot about.
I
his
thought that
character.
was amazing. It's like, and Dryden's like going, Dryden knows that Alan B's going to manipulate Lawrence this way as he's walking away. They all know it, and this happens. And again, that's
no,
just
but I don't think
brilliantly done.
everybody knows it. I think Lawrence is like way smarter than everybody else, and he usually gets away with it without people knowing that it's happening. But
Right.
Lawrence
But
is
he
just
knows-
he knows
talks
how the
real
machine
well
works.
and doesn't really know what's
But
going on.
Alan B also knows how to play to his ego, and Lawrence is like, "Fuck it, damn it, you're right. Okay, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Right,
So
that's what-
speaking to that, those are some of the parts of the
True.
movie that I had a hard time getting over. I kind of dismissed them, but like he was multiple times, at least twice. I thought he was going to quit going
Yeah.
back to the desert, but then they just like said one thing, and he was like, "Okay, I'll go back." And you're like, "Wait a minute,
All
why?
right, I'll go back.
Why would you go back? Like you're literally
Because-
suicidal. You look like you're fucking losing your
Yeah,
goddamn mind."
But they know
This-
that he is very passionate about this stuff. And that
Right.
he also
and he's not going to
likes-
quit until he figures
he
out the
likes
puzzle.
this hero role
Yeah.
that he's found.
Yeah, right.
So they.
But he
know
doesn't
that
have
they
the role.
can-
He doesn't even know about his fame, right?
No,
yeah, but he
knows.
does
I mean,
because he's on the
accomplished
front
some
line
things.
there, right? So he's doing some things, and it's making him feel something.
I mean,
Yeah.
Faisal and Ali are telling him that he's doing a fantastic job. I mean, like after they got Aqaba and Ali's there on the beach with him and showing him, garlands for the victor. That scene.
That scene where they're on the horse on the fucking coast.
Yeah.
God, I've never seen such a good beach. That's the best beach. That's all I'm saying. It's the best beach.
Yeah, it's a nice
But it's
beach.
also you're seeing like him also like enjoying this role of being a conqueror of sorts, and that's
Kind of, but isn't he kind of moping? He's like, "Rah,
He's
I had to
mixed,
kill
you know.
somebody."
I mean,
damn it.
he's dehydrated.
He's mixed. The later scene where he does the no prisoners line, a lot of that stuff was factual.
Yes,
Apparently,
that was strangely factual.
right. All the way down to the
Interesting.
guy whose village it was riding out there singularly on horse with the battle cry to be shot dead, knowing he was going to be shot dead. And
It was weird watching
all
the
of that
special features in this
happened.
movie. It's like the guy was so critical of that scene, being like, there's a scene where he smiles when he's murdering people after that. And
Yeah.
the guy's like, he wouldn't be smiling. He would have a revenge rage face. I'm like, that is not
Oh,
important.
wow.
That is, I mean,
Yeah.
his motivation was
Dude,
totally the same. Like what you're
He's gone
describing
nuts.
is the same.
What's happened? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gone mad, sort of here, and he's
Right.
already got he's already sold us on this character. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with the way he's
That's
playing
true.
it because
Yeah.
we're there. I'm like not seeing, and that is another thing he does. He's
I figured,
going
I
mad.
mean, we know he's going to kill himself at the end,
Right.
basically, right? So he's like self-destructing as we watch.
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
movie.
arguably, but
True.
Which
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of was
yeah.
a bad part of the movie too. Like I knew how he was going to die. I might have been more nervous for his character throughout the movie if it didn't start with how he died, because I knew
would
nothing
say
about
that-
this character.
No, no,
True.
but I think this is even better because it then lets you just focus on the characters themselves because that's what's so good about this film.
Oh, instead of like wondering how it's going to end.
All it made me do is focus on the fact that this movie's 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You just
I
thought
was like,
I-
we're 2.5 hours in. He's not going to die because
I
there's
am so
still
glad
an
I
hour and a
started
half
it
left.
2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah,
I would have been
Yeah.
fucked.
that was one of
Completely
the
fucked.
worst parts of watching this movie, and it was not that bad.
I actually think it's better though. I think it's like you I don't know. I like it when books do this too, or when stories do this. They take away all the tension that you might normally have. That might
What the
normally
hell is
compel
wrong
you.
with you? Are you kidding me?
Because I'll tell you. Listen, because that means that they've upped what they're going to have to do to keep you interested. They've then
yeah.
like laid it out and said, yeah, you know what? We can just have you worry about, there's some big mystery at the end of this book that you're not going to find out until you get to the end, a
Or-
Dan Brown novel or something. Or we're going to lay all that out of you, and we're just going to lay
Because
all that
the
out.
ending is almost irrelevant compared to the
Right,
story.
and we're just
between
going
them,
to keep
right?
you
Yeah.
really fascinated because we're going to have some amazing characters.
That's a
and
good way
we're
to
gonna
look
have
at
some
that.
amazing interaction and dialogue, and you're just going to be happy to be here.
Right.
And that's so you're right. It could be bad if they spoil it all, and it's crap.
It just
You
made
know.
me more aware of how long the movie was, because there were scenes where I was like, if it didn't have that scene, I would have been wondering if he was going to die, like multiple
okay,
times
yeah.
in this movie.
Right,
but
right.
that was
Right, you
completely
would have had that
removed from the
tension.
movie. Yeah,
Maybe that's true. Maybe it would, in a way, first watch it would have made it more like thrilling. But then what you do is you're more like, I think that by taking that away, you're more watching his character and watching what he's
I mean that's
doing
what I
and
did
going
anyway. That's
through.
why I love the movie so
Right.
much.
Yeah.
That's what
So
it
rather
is.
than worrying about whether he lives or die, you're like just like really you're just interested in how he's doing, what he's doing, and why, and how he reacts.
Yeah,
So I don't know, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's an interesting decision that they decided to make that decision that we're going to show him die right up front.
Yeah. I feel like other movies have definitely copied it.
and then the end. I mean, we're going to jump to the end here, like that last shot where he's being driven back to society, and then he sees the
Yeah.
motorcycle, and like
Right.
they pass the horses, right?
Right.
Something like, all right, so we are better than them, and then this guy passes us on a motorcycle, and he's like, is that the next? I don't know. There's something there where like they intentionally pass camels, being like vehicles are better than camels.
Yeah.
And then there's a
Right.
motorcycle, and it's like
yeah.
motorcycles are better than vehicles.
Right.
Well,
And they'll kill you.
and death. Kill yourself.
And change is a coming.
Yeah.
Cue Bob Dylan.
Yeah. So I think like some of the other scenes that were really amazing, when they after Damascus, and this is not historically accurate, and it also again is rather insulting to the Arab tribes there because this sort of stuff didn't happen. But that scene where they're all in the hall arguing, the commotion of it was astonishing. I thought just the way the noise was done in that hall was just I don't
the
know.
sound
I don't.
intermittently was like fucking top notch.
Yeah.
They definitely recorded it in that building.
Yeah, that was to me just
Location.
amazing. The to get that to happen where you're going to have that many people arguing. How do you pull? I don't know how you pull that off so well, but man, that was just
Rehearsals.
David Lean
Something.
didn't even watch dailies during the entire filming of this movie. They
What?
were
No way.
They were winging it because they were in the desert. They didn't have any like they
don't
were in
have
Hollywood.
time.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way you can get film developed in the middle of the desert.
Right.
The entire
Fucking
time
send
they
it.
were filming this, they had no idea how good anything looked, and then it came out looking
Wow.
like this. It is unbelievable. Doesn't make any sense.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And the sound too. They had no idea.
right. And then I again the politician scene towards the end, right before we go as Lawrence is leaving. I just loved that. I loved Alex's speech about the virtues of war, the virtues of young men, and the vices of war, the vices of young men.
That was good. That was,
thought
I don't
that
know.
was great.
Didn't you think it was kind of strange how like it was the first scene that wasn't focused on Lawrence and it was like towards the end? That's when I stopped
But
paying
that's what we're
attention.
moving
When
towards,
why
right?
I had
Yeah.
to watch, why I had to rewatch the movie
Oh,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
that scene lost my interest because I was like, it's not about
'Cause
Lawrence.
he's out of the picture,
Yeah.
right? It is, but that's the point. It's now
It
the time
is.
for politics, right?
It is totally,
but-
but like in
yeah.
terms of a flowing story, like I definitely tuned out for that the
Sure,
first time.
I can see that too. But yeah,
What do you want, Denny? It's 3 hours and 47 minutes.
Yeah. Like knowing that was the point of the end, I was like, all right, this movie is amazing. They have to be saying some cool shit. Like there was,
yeah.
it's got to be a reason why they end it with this stuff. So then you're rewatching it, you're like, oh yeah, this is good stuff right here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in you, Danny, that you don't love Faisal as much as I love Faisal's character.
I'm sorry,
so,
dude,
I don't
but
know.
I mean, this movie
okay.
is top notch fucking material here. I'm upset
I
we
just-
have to watch what we have to watch next week.
Oh, no, what is it?
It's Toy Story 3.
Oh,
Oh, God. What a discrepancy there, huh?
Why?
Yeah.
Can we just skip Toy Story? I don't want to watch Toy Story 3.
I can. I know I will. Punt
I don't
right
know, man.
now.
I'm
We
just kidding.
have a mission.
I have
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit of trivia if you guys are ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're ready for
well,
it.
one other thing is like there's no women
sorry,
in this
John.
film.
You're not ready yet. Here we go.
Sorry,
Sorry.
the other one downside, no women, and there actually there were actual women involved in history, even in the desert.
That's not true, John. Don't lie to us to our faces.
Stop
Come
spreading
on.
lies.
But I mean, that was
Is that
really
not a funny
like,
joke, John?
The,
Is that not
the
funny? I don't
absence
think
of
that's a
women
funny
was
joke.
just
I guess that's not a funny joke.
Anywhere
It's
on
not
the
a funny
British
joke
side,
anymore. I
thought it
anywhere.
was funny, Danny.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I'm
funny
moving
too,
on.
but it's not funny anymore. That's okay. That's okay.
Who
Yeah.
am I to say? Come on. But that was again that was just a very striking omission. It seemed.
Was it?
But,
It's World
anyway.
War One.
Yeah, are there no women anywhere? Nowhere in the officer around? I mean, just nowhere. Is that
They're
fair?
what do you mean? They're knitting parachutes. Come on.
They were putting blog posts now. You can
That
get your
one was
own
funny.
parachutes.
All right, that one landed. That one landed. All right. That one landed.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
good.
cool,
That was good.
cool.
Good one. Yeah, nice
All
one,
right.
TC. I don't know
All right, there you
what's
go.
wrong with
There
Denny, but you did good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. There you go.
It's my delivery,
Ah,
John.
geez.
It's because you hate me. It's because
No, it's because I was distracted. I was like poking at something else. So, because there was sort of a counterpart or another archaeologist, I believe. I forget what was her name. She was kind of the female Lawrence of Arabia, Gertrude Pell. And there's another film about her with Nicole Kidman.
In that
And
one, there were no
worked-
men.
She worked with Lawrence and actually was, I think, shaped some of his thinking. Arguably the most powerful woman in the British Empire, central to decisions that created the modern Middle East and reverberate still on the nightly news. What is this from? I should quote it from the Telegraph. This was an article, How the Forgotten Females Lawrence of Arabia helped create the modern Middle East. So
Huh.
anyway,
Interesting.
I mean, we watched a
There's-
lot of movies on this list that have no women, like Fast
That's
and
fair.
Furious 4, 5, 6, and 7. And,
Oh yeah, those
and
are
8,
those
and then
are.
Hobbs
Although
and
we're not going to
Shaw.
get to them until we get to the top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Right.
women
We gotta
there,
wait.
and they're damn sexy.
Guys, by the way,
Yeah,
I have a
come on.
plan to
Michelle,
watch
what's her
those
name?
movies. We're just
Fucking,
going to wait. We're going to skip them until we get them in order, and we're just going to watch them 1 through 15, all right? We're just going to
Oh
do
yeah, I'm a
Oh,
big
man.
Michelle Rodriguez fan. Come on,
I am looking forward to that.
it. Who's not?
that one.
How are her
that one
arms
wasn't
still
fucking-
so toned? She's been
That one was
toned
not
since the
knitting
early
fucking
90s.
parachutes. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
F9, dude. F9 is coming out 2021. Now let's see if that date holds. Are they
I don't
filming
think
it
so.
now? Probably not.
Yeah, it's paused.
Anywho, what are we talking about here? All right, are we getting a
Ah,
trivia or
trivia.
what?
Let's go. Unless anybody else have any other thoughts, comments?
Nah,
on
I got
movie?
nothing.
Timmy,
I got
Timmy,
you guys.
got
You
anything?
guys were way more. No, I'm just happy to be back out of the sand. You know, finishing fucking spackling walls all day with fucking Larry. Jesus,
A lot of spackle out there on those buildings.
fucking yeah, it's hot out there. You'd be
Nothing but
surprised.
spackle in those cities.
Man, it's nothing but spackle. It's no sand and spackle. That's all I got. That's all Timmy's got.
Guess whose favorite movie? Guess which famous director this is their favorite movie? That's a terrible way to pose that question. This is some director's favorite movie, and he's very
Who
famous.
was the guy who did There Will Be Blood? What was his
Paul
name?
Thomas Anderson, not him.
Yeah. Nope. Okay. that
More
was my
famous than
shot.
him. The most famous
Oh,
director in the
geez.
world, probably.
Old Spielberg.
Tarantino.
Spielberg.
Yeah.
Spielberg. There you go.
Spielberg started
That
making
makes sense.
movies because he saw this movie in the theater.
Ah.
Yeah.
This movie literally created all of Spielberg's movies.
And then he sat down and was like, "Hey, John, your name's John. Yeah, do you think you could do that in the score?" And he's like, "Absolutely. I've been fucking practicing that since
Yeah.
day one." He's like, "Fuck yeah, come on down. Got a good team here." All
You
right.
could, I mean, how many shots in this movie did you think of Raiders of the Lost Ark? There were at least
I don't
like
know.
20 shots. I was like, that's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You know.
No? Nothing?
Yeah. It felt that way. I feel like there was sense of action and danger. You know, I think you could even see. I don't know if you could pull some like Lawrence was such a much more interesting character than Indiana Jones. But
yeah,
the kind
that's
of like
dude, exactly what I said at the beginning. I feel like Raiders is going to be worse now because of this movie. It's going to have
just-
holes.
It's more light-hearted action.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
more
a
straight.
shtick. What are you
It's
talking
just-
about?
yeah.
It's more of
Yeah,
a
it's a
like
shtick.
lighthearted action. What this did was make it sort of more than that. Which
Yeah,
I
there's
think
no,
is
there's
pretty
no, there's no Larry the fucking Spackler ride at Universal, right? Like you're not going on the fucking Lawrence of
No,
Arabia.
there is. That's
ride,
where he
you
works,
know?
dude. That's what he
Hey,
spackles
yeah,
the
we're just
fucking
gonna put you on
Jaws
we're gonna put
machine.
you on the beach. Just walk the beach. That's the ride. Yeah, sign up here.
Larry
get
is
in line.
waiting in the Jaws pool,
Yeah.
waiting to spackle the dents when people throw things
That's
at the
right.
Jaws
Yeah,
machine when
there
it
you
pops
go.
up.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what that fucking shark's doing in there.
Oh, they threw a bottle
Yeah.
at him. I got to spackle
Yeah.
his face so it looks scary in the
Yeah,
next
get me
ride.
some spackle, just calling out spackle. You know,
They had to shut it down, man.
What is that guy doing? He's going to get eaten by the shark? No, he's just spackling.
Yeah.
He's a spackle
he's
king.
spackling. He was hired for the Larry of Arabia ride, but there's nothing to that ride. It's just sand in a beach in a square. You know, so we got him on the Lost Raiders of the Ark over here, but he keeps going to Jaws for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, like it's a shtick in comparison to this. This is almost like a fucking. I don't know, this movie is like an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
You know.
If there was one movie I could like, this is one of the ones where you could just like take and watch over and over again. I've only seen it once, but I have the feeling that this movie, I'm going to watch it again. There's just so much to it. It's like every second you could appreciate something different the entire time you're
Right.
watching it.
You can do it like a whole thing. Like when I quarantine, I love to watch Lawrence of Arabia because all of
Yes.
a sudden 4 hours are gone.
You could.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
So British Film Institute, where do you think this is in the top 100?
I don't know.
British film. Is this a British movie? It's not a British movie. It's a Hollywood movie. Is it just because the lead character has a British accent? So it's
Well,
a British
exactly
no,
movie?
right.
I think David Lean himself is British.
But it's a Hollywood movie. It's a Sam Spiegel production. He's Hollywood. He's fucking super Hollywood.
I think it was co-produced. I think it was not just Sam, but it was like a joint thing.
Not
You
really.
know that for sure.
No,
No.
You
It's
would
David,
know
it's
more
a
that
David
way.
Lean and
You
David
making that
and
up?
Sam Spiegel production. And Sam Spiegel was the main producer because all he did was produce. And he produced some of the best movies ever. And this was one of them. And it was,
There's only
I'm sure he got
one-
like pittance from other places, but like, this is it. There's
It
Sam
doesn't
Spiegel.
say studios that would maybe collaborate there, so I don't see anything on the wiki.
Well, I did think the BFI would know.
Oh, it's just Columbia, distributed by Columbia. Production
Dude, I would
company
think that
Horizon
like
Pictures.
this movie could be number one.
well,
Top
of
five.
course.
Top five.
Yeah, top five, definitely top five. It's 3.
It's 3.
And,
What are the
and
other
this is
two?
David Lean. So the first one is The Third Man, unfortunately.
What?
Yeah,
Come
man.
on. Come on.
This
This movie
fucking
is so
people.
much
What are
better.
they watching?
This movie is so much better than The Third Man. It is. Sorry. Anyway, what is number 2?
So number 2 is also a David Lean film. It's called Brief Encounter. 1945 British romantic drama film about a passionate extramarital affair in pre-World War II England.
What?
I'm good. Skip that one.
I'm planning on
Oh,
watching
wait.
Dr.
I think
Zhivago.
I've heard about this one. Wait a minute. I've heard this because this film was filmed as the war was going on.
45.
Yeah, and I think my wife.
So that's a pity fucking bid right there. Is what?
No,
that is.
it's apparently really good. It really has this realistic sense to it because the actors were all like feeling the uncertainty of the war.
Damn.
So, yeah. Anyway,
have you seen Dr. Zhivago?
No.
Neither have I. I've heard, like the people in the special features were talking about it. It's the one he made right after Lawrence of Arabia. It won 5 Oscars. It's supposed to be
and then
really
disappeared. Yes, because
disappeared.
number 10 on the BFI list is like Train Spotting.
There you go. Give us the top 10, John. Run it down.
The Third Man, Brief Encounter, Lawrence of Arabia. 4 is The 39 Steps, Hitchcock. That's not a British film, is it?
39
I guess
Steps?
Hitchcock is British, I guess. 5, Great Expectations. Also David Lean directed that in
shit.
46. 6, Kind Hearts and Cornets.
No,
which we-
come on.
yeah.
That movie.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, these lists they're
Number
flawed. There's no
7
doubt
was-
about it.
I like that I can say that movie sucks. That's a good part about this list.
I
Like,
thought it
that's
was an amusing. I thought
Really?
it was funny.
really.
Kess, which was a Ken Loach film in '69.
Am I supposed to know what any of those words you just said mean?
Kess?
Yeah, right. Singing the same thing.
Ken, and then you
British
said
drama
Ken
film.
Loach. Those aren't words either,
Yeah.
John. None of those are words.
Really?
No. Okay.
He's reading them from somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought I've heard of Ken Loach before. That name sounds very familiar.
Sounds like somebody who renamed themselves that was trying to start a business.
I'm Ken Loach. No, you're not. You're Larry Arabia. We've talked about this. Yeah. That's a good one. Dennis.
What else
I
we got,
that.
John? We're
Larry
at number
Arabia.
6?
I'm going to do that.
Anyway, all right. So, well, you got me all distracted there. So, Don't Look Now, 73 film. The Red Shoes, 48 film. Train Spotting is number 10. Bridge on the River Kwai was 11.
A lot of old movies on there.
Yeah, Dr. Zhivago, it doesn't show up until 27, if you're wondering.
Oh, I think I might watch it. It won Best Cinematography. I want to see David Lean direct beautiful things. I feel like that, even if the movie was crappy, that would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that Spielberg liked this movie is that he grew up in Arizona in the desert. So the line where Peter O'Toole said, like, why do you like the desert? And he said, because they're clean, really rung true to Spielberg. And it's not because they are clean in terms of like germs or whatever, but it's just like there's no people there. And it's kind of like an antisocial mantra that Spielberg lives with because this is his favorite movie and that is his favorite line. And that is the reason that all of his movies exist, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Because I think he was a nerd.
You think, huh?
I think he was a little bit of a nerd.
Yeah, but you can definitely, wow. I mean, the kind of like adventure thing that Spielberg goes for, like that, man, this movie really captures that.
It
right?
does. It seems like a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
Just epic as fuck.
But more serious than, I don't know. I know there's Saving Private Ryan and stuff that's very, very serious from Spielberg or Schindler's List. But those don't have the feeling, like this combines, those go to one extreme or the other kind of in terms of
You don't want to be in those movies. This
seriousness.
movie is great to be in for some reason.
So it's this combination of drama and adventure that I think is remarkable. Drama, adventure, and character. Yes. I mean, that's the other thing that's so amazing about the film.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a special feature with Spielberg, which is why I have all the Spielberg trivia.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Spielberg was responsible for the restoration of this movie back in the mid 90s. And to show off Spielberg listens to movie commentaries, by the way. So I'm not the only one, you guys. I'm just way less talented version of Spielberg who sits and listens to these things. So he got a direct, he got a David Lean personal commentary when he showed him the movie. Because he sat in the room with David Lean when he restored the movie. David Lean was very old, and David Lean just like gave him little stories. Like he didn't even ask him to do it. He figured he would just like comment on like what he thought about the restoration, but he basically started immediately giving stories about what happened during every scene in the movie, which must have been amazing. He didn't tell too many. That's just awesome. I love that. Spielberg and David Lean sitting together, and Spielberg just like having his childhood dream live out for 4 hours.
Wow.
It must have been one of the best parts of his life.
I think that guy's had a lot of childhood dreams live out.
Yeah,
right? He's fucking had a few, I think, at this point.
Probably true.
Lucky bastard.
This movie had 285 shooting days.
Wow. Holy shit.
And they shot for a year and a half. David Lean never took a sick day. He was always there, which is insane. They were in the desert most of the time. Yeah. I'm going to shout out a YouTube channel here, guys.
Oh.
Because there was a making of this movie that was worse than this person's YouTube that I watched, which covered everything in a shorter period of time and had more information. It's called History Buffs. It's like a YouTube channel you can get. It's pretty popular, apparently. It's kind of weird. It starts out with a cartoon in the beginning. First 30 seconds of it is a cartoon guy talking, and you're like, this might be terrible, but it's not. And then he goes he goes through every single piece of the movie. He starts out with a positive. He first of all like praises the movie and is like, all right, here's everything that is accurate. And that basically paints a picture of like when you watch the movie, you're like, this movie is pretty fucking accurate. If you really think about it from like a distance from the character, if you knew him, it's pretty accurate. It tells a true story. It's an important story, sort of thing. Then it goes into the smaller parts, which are inaccurate. And he shares my opinion where everything he said, and then he's just like, I don't care. I'm like, I agree, dude. I also do not care. They had reason to do it for the movie for like dramatic purposes. And then he's like, but this is what it is. So I would say watch that. I picked a couple of small things out from it. At 19, Lawrence of Arabia walked 1,100 miles across Syria by himself for a college thesis.
Whoa.
Which is why he got like picked by the government to go on all these like war missions, basically. But
hey, you walked 40 miles in the desert, right? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, you're on board. Come down.
He walked across the fucking desert by choice.
What? Why?
Like that's insane.
You're nuts.
By itself.
I'm glad somebody out there does that.
Because there's a lot of like he was interested in old religion, basically, when he was going to school. So he wanted to see like all of these old buildings that he read about that are all in Syria. Wow. So he just walked between them for a year.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the government recruited him.
That's pretty cool.
The Aqaba and the Damascus stories, those things were pretty much 100% real. The reason for getting them was real. It turned the tide. Whatever that means. I don't really know anything about World War I, so, take that with a grain of salt, but it really helped whoever won World War I win. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Sure.
I think it was us and maybe some other people, something like that.
Right. It was a thing that happened. There was a war. It was over. Larry Arabia was walking the miles. I don't know.
With Damascus, I think it was said that like, I don't know, there were other armies that had been the British and I think Australian. They'd already like paved the way as well. I mean,
so one of the fake parts was at the very end. Australian horse riders were the people that paved the way to Damascus. And that was a small part, but like they were right behind them. So like it was literally right behind them. It was like 2 hours before they ran.
No,
in.
and again, the uprising like was immensely helpful in terms of like diverting the Turkish army and making it so that these other armies could also
blowing up the railroads. Blowing up the railroads was like a huge thing that helped the non-Turkish armies that were trying to fight them.
Wow.
But they didn't have, to my knowledge, I couldn't find, it didn't sound like the Damascus thing, they just went in there and set up shop. They didn't have this whole like, oh, it's all falling apart because the Arab people don't know how to run a city.
No, that was all fake. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, that was all fake and somewhat insulting.
We can't figure out how to run the piping, John, because they're dumb.
There's these big machines. I don't know, such it is with machines.
John's fucking spackle in the way.
I can't get the toilet to flush. Should I stab this guy? I don't know. I'm dumb.
I think so.
Who do I kill to fix the plumbing? Yeah.
That's Timmy Buckles, I think. Timmy, you were on plumbing, right? I don't fucking know what you're talking about. I went with a spatula.
But yeah, so the first ride through the desert for like the By the way, camels can live 20 days without eating or drinking anything. That's insane. But that ride was 200 miles in reality through the desert on camels. That happened. That was real. Guy fucking did it, which is incredible. The shot that they translated, the reason why he shot the person he saved 6 times, pretty much used an entire gunful, is because the reality of that scene was taken off of, they lost somebody down a well. He fell down a well, broke his legs. They couldn't save him, so they wanted to kill him. And the guy at the bottom of the well didn't want to die. So he was moving around. So like he had to unload rounds of guns into the guy at the bottom of the well.
Jesus.
Which is terrifying.
I'm still here. Shut up.
Different kind of puts lotion in the basket, huh?
Sorry, I just had a Monty Python spin of
The thing they tried to make, David Lean and Sam Spiegel, after Bridge on the Iroquois, was a Gandhi movie, which they spent a lot of money on, never got off the ground because it was too epic. Can you imagine a Gandhi movie that was too epic? You know,
right, but it has the same. This film I lumped together with Gandhi in the sense of it being such a around a single character who did great things,
and it was acted so well, and there was just epic parts around a singular character, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy how that's what they wanted to do, and they made this one. This is more epic than Gandhi, the newer one, except for that one scene where there's like the memorial or whatever.
Yeah,
just consistently.
No, in terms of the scope and scale and all of that, yeah.
They called Peter O'Toole father of the sponge. That was his name on set with all the Arab people.
Why?
Because when he rode the camel the first week, his ass was literally bleeding. Not his asshole, but his ass cheeks. And he was like, I have a delicate Irish ass, was what he said.
So
what he did,
pal,
is he put a bunch of foam underneath all the things they were sitting on to make it more comfortable. And everybody else on the set who was used to riding camels in the normal way, if you look it up, they're like the little posts, there's 2 little posts. It's a wooden structure underneath the cloth. And it looks very uncomfortable. There's no flat part of it. It's a bunch of like 45-degree angles. You're basically sitting on 45-degree angled wood. And he just put a bunch of foam. So it was like a flat, soft thing, which is why he looked so goddamn comfortable riding around those camels all the time.
It was like sponge rider.
Yeah. Father of the sponge.
Nice.
When David Lee went to go scout in Turkey for shooting locations, they found a 40-year-old train that was blown up in in one of the wars, and there was no rust on it.
Oh, I was wondering because I was like watching that thing, and they wrecked an actual train. That looks like an actual train.
They did. That part was filmed in Spain. That was one of the ones that they had to move to Spain to film it there.
Wait, did they move the train to Spain?
They built the track in Spain. It was a 2-mile track they built to blow up the train, and they were planning on doing it in Jordan, but for some reason, it's more expensive to film in Jordan in the 1960s. I have no idea why, but that part was moved to Spain. So that was in Spain. Spain has deserts too, apparently. There's a thing called, Panavision owns a thing called the David Lean lens, and it was only used once, and it was during the mirage scenes in this movie.
Oh, wow.
They built a special lens to capture mirages, and no one else has ever used it again, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that exists. This blew my mind, you guys. Think about this. Every single movement in this entire 4-hour-long movie goes from left to right.
Oh, interesting.
No way. Really?
Yep. Intentionally.
I'm going to have to watch this.
Every single movement goes from left to right.
So from the very beginning, they decided that this is what they're going to do no matter what?
The only one that goes from right to left is when he goes back into the desert to save the guy. He's going back to the left. But then he goes, when they escape, they go back to the right.
Because he's like always moving forward. He's always like
going
progressing
forward.
Yep.
I see.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Awesome.
That's such a simple decision, but that's fucking, like, it really works. You're going to the right.
Yeah.
You're reading a book. You're playing Mario Brothers. Like, you're going somewhere
right
to the right. Yeah, you mentioned this.
Was that ever done before? Was like that a thing? I wonder. I mean, I don't know if that's a pretty common technique or just you're showing forward movement. So you always go left to right. I know
for sure in Indiana Jones and the Boulder's Coming, it's right to left. So at the very least there you go. Not a thing.
Yeah, he messed up there, Spielberg.
Yeah, you fucked up, dude. You suck. So the production priced in plastic cups for everybody to drink water in the desert, but the plastic cups are light and flimsy, and there's a lot of wind in the desert, so a lot of shots were getting ruined by plastic cups getting blown around in the shots.
Oh, man.
So they had to switch to ceramic cups, ceramic mugs for everyone on set. Everyone gets their own
Nice.
ceramic cup. Kind of a weird piece
If
of
you
trivia,
drop
but I
it,
thought that
you're
was
fucking-
funny.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
But
why?
I get to
Because they
see
had
it.
Larry from Arabia there. He's like, I got spackle. I can make you a cup. He's like, all right, dude. Make
Where
them up.
else I gonna put my tequila? You can't.
Yeah. You guys don't have any fucking cups for the booze, so I'll make you a couple cups if you want. We'll just
How
put
are
on
you
the
still
extra bill
alive,
there.
Larry? It is the desert. How are you drinking? It's
You
tequila,
know.
bro. It comes from the desert, stays in the desert. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well,
Nothing
Timmy
can kill
Buckles. Timmy Buckles was written. That's all there is to it. You need a cup?
Larry.
So Peter O'Toole almost died in the exact same way that Lawrence of Arabia, T.E. Lawrence, died while
Motorcycle
storming
without a
Aqaba.
helmet. Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say he almost died in a motorcycle wreck, but
No. So storming Aqaba, T.E. Lawrence fell off his camel and almost got trampled by a bunch of camels. And while they were filming
Oh.
that scene, Peter O'Toole fell off his camel, and the only reason he didn't die is because his camel liked him so much it stood over him, and all of the other horses and camels ran by him.
Dude, you
Otherwise,
put
he would have gotten
sponges
fucking
on my
trampled.
back. It's so much more comfortable for me too. I love you. But wow,
That's great. So
I
Peter
thought-
O'Toole got fucked up in this movie. Go ahead, John. I'll tell.
Oh no, I don't know if this is the story. I heard this. I don't know where I read this, but I read some story that that Lawrence of Arabia accidentally shot his own camel in the head, and
What?
that's how he fell off at one point. Like he was real excited, and you shoot in the air, but he
Oh shit! I shot Fluffy. No.
shot his camel and then fell off. I don't know if
Jesus.
that's when that happened, but I don't know if that's
That
a
sounds.
true anecdote
that-
or not.
no
but-
one mentioned that in all this shit I watched.
Okay,
That's
well,
probably
then-
fake.
then
But that's still
maybe
pretty
that was
funny.
just made up. That is made up. Yeah, charge, bang.
Guys,
Oh, dude.
can I get
I'm
on your
not very
camel?
good at
Whoops.
this.
You guys
Why?
got another
I shot
camel
mine
back
in
there
the head.
somewhere? Yeah.
You got another camel? Not another one. You should shoot your camel in the head again, Larry.
I
got really excited.
Sponge.
Dude, it's the desert, but they don't grow on trees, man.
Peter O'Toole suffered from third-degree burns, sprained both of his ankles. He tore ligaments in both his hip and his thigh. He broke his thumb.
Jesus.
He dislocated his spine. He fractured his skull. He was bitten by a camel.
Oh.
He sprained his neck. He tore
Oh.
a groin muscle, and he was twice concussed during the filming of this movie.
Holy cow.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a record.
And it's a lot. I mean, I can't believe he doesn't look fucked up. There's apparently some scenes reading the trivia that you can notice where he's like hiding an injury, but I didn't notice it once
No.
Wow.
Maybe that's how you got that anguished expression, though.
because he was just
He's
in
like,
pain.
Right. He's like
I'm
in so
fucking
much
He's
pain.
injured in the
Right.
desert, so maybe it's
Yeah.
not so
Oof.
hard to act that way.
Oof.
Damn.
This movie got nominated and won a lot of Oscars. An Oscar that it should have got nominated for and possibly won was Best Costume Design. And it didn't
yeah.
even get nominated because somebody accidentally forgot to submit Phyllis Dalton for consideration. The paperwork
shit.
wasn't filed.
Wow.
Oh,
Her name was Phyllis
Jesus.
Dalton. Her name was Phyllis Dalton. Her name was. All right.
Yeah, no
Uh,
kidding, man.
Guess a budget for this movie. 1962.
I already know it, so I won't guess it.
Oh, you do.
Oh, I don't know. 30. No. I'm not going to be good at the number, the inflation stuff. Let's say 20 million. I'm going to say something.
Damn, John. Nice. 15 million.
Well, Spielberg estimated how much. I read some article somewhere where
He estimated
Spielberg said-
285 million is what this movie would cost to make now. This movie wouldn't
Ah.
get made now, so I don't know how you make that estimation.
Right. Well, it's that same yeah. Well,
A cool part about that shot we talked about earlier where he blows the match out and it cuts to the desert sunset or
Mhm.
sunrise, whatever it is. That originally, in the original cut, was a dissolve fade, but because of French New Wave, the way they did hard cuts like that influenced them to do a hard cut.
oh.
Huh.
I'm glad they did.
Wow.
Me too.
I thought because it's like the sun, you want that sun to just like suddenly hit you, right?
Right.
But also
Right.
the suddenness when you blow out the match, it's a sudden movement, so it makes sense that why would you dissolve slowly? Because the match doesn't slowly go out. It just like whoosh.
Just
Because
goes out.
dissolves
I
are
see what you're
fancy.
saying, yeah.
Dissolves show money because they cost money to do
Yeah.
back then, right? So it's like,
Ah.
They
but the
could
French
have
New
those
Wave is
Star-
like
those
simplicity
Star
can be
Wars
better
sideswipes.
if utilized correctly.
Oh, I thought it was better. Yeah, it's again that whole sequence is just is fantastic.
This movie had 2
Yeah.
years of pre-production and 14 months of shooting in Jordan, Spain, and Morocco. So that's a long time. There is a cut that exists that is 3 hours long, and it exists because back when this was showing in theaters, they wanted to be able to show up more than once a day.
Oh wow, what did they cut out? I wonder.
I don't know.
Just like little bits here and there, or did they cut out like whole sections?
I don't know. I don't know where you can actually watch that cut, but it's what most people watched when this movie first came out is a 3 hour cut.
Wow.
Peter O'Toole got rhinoplasty right before this movie was made.
What?
Yeah.
Aw.
Pretty strange.
Like, was that like meaning a nose job? What? Like
Yeah.
some the whole shebang?
Isn't that so? I thought rhinoplasty was only
rhinoplasty
nose.
literally. I thought that just meant plastic surgery in general. Rhinoplasty is specific to nose job.
It's the nose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the nose.
Because it's a rhino. It's your rhino horn, John. It's a good old rhino horn. there.
That's the way to remember
I took
it.
a way
for
to remember
sniffing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got, guys.
Nice.
Oh man, this is a good one. I like this one. The reason we're doing
I
this,
think
guys.
this is a must watch.
This is what I want. This is what I want from a classic movie. This is what I want.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
If you haven't gotten
this
this,
is-
like from just this listening to this, if you're on the fence about watching this movie, fucking watch it. Like just put it
watch
on.
it. Yep.
It's so
Because
good.
even Timmy got through it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to watch it long. If you're not hooked by the time you get to the desert, then fine. Off with you.
I mean, just
But-
do it in 3
Off
acts.
with
Do
your
it in the
head.
3 acts. Watch
Yeah.
it in 3
Yeah.
sittings if you have to.
We're just gonna do it on the count of 3, whether or not you put in the top 250. Guys, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, next week I'm glad I'm not going first. Toy Story 3 2010. That's all I'm going to say. The toys are
Yeah.
mistakenly delivered to a daycare instead of the attic right before Andy leaves for college, and it's up to Woody to convince the other toys that they weren't abandoned and returned to home.
There's gonna be a prison break.
Toy Story 3.
Can we skip this one? Can we get one skip? Like, I just don't want to watch this
You want to
movie.
punt
wanna-
on your own podcast? How about that? How about that, huh?
Can I just
Never
not
would've
watch
thought I
Toy
saw
Story
that.
3?
Just to sort of make a point after this film,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like,
We
seriously,
gave
I don't
Toy
give a
Story
fuck.
1.
We
We
don't
gave it
owe
1.
anybody
Yeah.
anything. We could skip Toy
Right.
Story 3. That would be great, actually. Can we actually
What's
do that?
that? Well, what's after Toy Story 3 then? What do we got then?
Double Indemnity.
Okay.
Indemnity.
It may be
Okay.
bad or may be
Let's
good,
go.
but it's more of a classic film. So
1944,
Yeah,
Billy
let's go ahead and
Wilder, who we've liked.
all right. Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to
We'll
watch Toy
skip
Story
action.
3.
You know what?
Me either.
I'm fine with that.
That'll be great. That'd be like a fuck you to this movie. That's so high on the list. Just not watch
That's
it.
fine. Let's
Agreed.
let's do it.
Yes. Yes. guys.
Yes, that was easy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
so
I
excited.
mean, it would have been an easy one. It was easy to watch or not watch.
There'd
but
be nothing
whatever,
to talk
but-
about. Did you like the
I
purple
know.
bear? No, I don't like him either.
I
Okay.
really the purple bear symbolizes blah blah blah.
Well,
There's
yeah,
a girl
right.
now, Jessie. Yay to get to hear Woody's origin story, and then they break out of preschool, which one part of it's bad, one part is good. There, now we're done.
John, you're
Okay, so
fusing
that was
2
good.
and 3
That
together.
was it.
The girl is from 2.
Am I? What?
That was
the
good.
girl
No, we
was
don't need to
two?
watch
Jesse's
it now.
from 2,
Got
dude.
enough.
Oh, you're right. 3 was
Just
anyway,
the preschool
yeah.
breakout thing.
That was the preschool breakout. Oh, you're right. His origin story was 2, right?
Yes.
He gets captured by the toy maker in origin into. Well, now you don't need to see 2 or 3. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. We already watched one
There you
Toy
go,
Story.
perfect.
That's too
Summed
many
it right
Toy
up.
Stories for this list. Yeah.
That's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
Excellent. Thank you guys. Yes.
Hey,
We're
no
gonna
problem.
fucking
Yeah,
skip
of
a
course.
movie. Top 249. All right, guys. We're signing out. Top 249. www.mission249filmcast.com.
Yeah, that's right.
It's okay.
Like and subscribe on, podcast things, Facebook and Twitter. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks for listening. Hopefully
Don't
this is a
breathe the
distraction
air.
for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great talking to you guys.
And,
Talk to you guys
Hey,
next
yeah.
week.
Thanks,
right.
guys.
See you later, boys.